next presenter.
You can see the shared screen with the video?
Yes, we can see the shared screen. Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll start the video now.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Aime. I'm from Madagascar. I'm MSc student at the Institut Halieutique et des Sciences Marines, University of Madagascar. Today, I feel so honored to be here at this conference, and I will share our contribution by presenting one part of our research which focuses on local governance of marine resources in Madagascar. So what I'd like to talk about is the role of local community and the responsibility of the co-managers in governance of marine protected area in Madagascar. So before starting, let we have a quick view of the presentation structure. As you can see on the screen, this presentation is divided in 4 parts. The first part will give us an overview of the MPA management in Madagascar. The second will describe the methodology which explains the energetic approach to evaluate the capacity to govern of the local manager, and the Lbca's approach to evaluate the MPA's protection level. The second part is followed by the finding part to show us the effectiveness of the governance groups, the protection level of the MPA, the relation between the capacity of the local managers and the protection level of the MPA, and the responsibility analyzing in MPA governance. The last part is the conclusion to show that where are the local manager referring to good governance practice. So to start, I will begin directly by telling the context of the MPA management and the objective of this study. As described by the literature, MPAs are one tool for conservation and sustainable management of marine and coastal ecosystem. It is also among the best methods to engage citizens in marine conservation. And each country develops their specific strategy for the effectiveness of this MPA management. And for the case of Madagascar, it is a co-management between local community and the delegator, I mean the local managers and the NGO. However, the effectiveness of this management depends on good governance. But the problem is we don't know if this local governance is effective or not and how to evaluate it. That's why this study has been conducted for 2 objectives. The first one is to evaluate if the local managers have the basic attributes of good governance. It is the authority, capacity, and power to govern sustainably the MPA. The second objective is to measure the protection level of the MPA. So this evaluation help the local managers and help all of the decision makers on how to prioritize the action to do in the MPA governance. So it is the responsibility of the co-managers and the role of the local governance group. And from here, we will see the method to reach out the objective of this study. This research has been realized in 2 regions of Madagascar, as we see on the screen. The first is in southwest region, where can be found the Shoriek MPA. The second is in the northwest of Madagascar, where we can find the Ankarea and Ankivuns MPA. From here, we will see the method to reach out the objective of this study. This research has been realized in 2 regions of Madagascar, as we see on the screen. The first is in southwest region, where can be found the Shoriek MPA. The second is in the northwest of Madagascar, where we can find the Ankara and Ankivun's MPA. Concerning the methods, two approaches have been used. The first in the top left is energetic approach to evaluate the effectiveness of local manager. So energetic stands for Natural Resources Governance Tool. An energetic uses a questionnaire and ascribe a score to each question in order to obtain the score of the sub-attributes. Then the overall score of the sub-attribute gives the score of the attribute. These attributes are in the bottom of the screen: the authority, the capacity, and the power to govern sustainably the MPA. And it is noticed that high score means good governance. The second in the top right is the Lbca's approach to evaluate the protection level of the MPA. So Lbca stands for Regulation-Based Classification Systems for the Marine Protected Area. Lbca's characterize the different types of use within the MPA and ascribing a score to its type of use in order to calculate the zone score and the MPA score. These zone score and MPA index determine respectively the protection level of the zone and the overall protection of the MPA. And it is noticed that high score means poor protection or weak protection. Here, as you see on the screen, we are at the third part of this presentation. It is the result of this study. So the finding shows that the local governance groups have their authority in terms of legal recognition, but they have low capacity to implement their conservation actions. It is found that they don't have yet a full power in terms of decision making. Concerning the MPA protection level, it is found that the protection of the subzones within the MPAs are not the same. So the no-take zone are evaluated as no-take with regulated access. It is the second level of this evaluation system. However, the sustainable use area are evaluated as weakly regulated extraction. It is the sixth level of this evaluation system. In consequence, the MPAs are evaluated as moderately protected area. It is the third level of this evaluation system. So what are the relation between the capacity of the governance group and the protection level of the MPA? The statistical analysis revealed that the more the exploitation materials and techniques are abundant in subzone within the MPA, the more the level of protection of this area is low. And the weak capacity to govern of the governance groups is among the main sources of the repeated infractions and the diversification of the exploitation, and that affects the level of protection of this governed area. We have seen that the main result of this research is the weak capacity to govern of the local governance groups, which affects the protection level of the MPA. So the responsibility analyzing shows that the resolution should be focused on the basic attributes of good governance. On the one hand, that is the responsibility of the co-managers in terms of capacity building and developing an exit strategy for the independence of the local governance group. On the other hand, that also is the role of the local governance groups in terms of initiative implementation, and motivation. And to sum up, local governance is facing to the weak capacity to govern of the governance groups, which influences their power in terms of decision making. In consequence, the protection level of subzone within the MPA are not the same, and the MPAs are partially protected. So that needs the responsibility of the co-managers. They should focus on improvement of sub-attributes to ameliorate the local governance, particularly the sub-attribute of the capacity. And for the local managers, their role should focus on promoting local initiative, improve the implementation capacity, and encourage their staff in terms of motivation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this presentation. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the presentation.